The US may have lost one old ally in Saudi Arabia, but is it on the verge of losing another one too? I'm talking about Pakistan. Today, Islamabad received its first cargo of discounted Russian oil. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif called it a transformative day, the dawn of a new relationship between Russia and Pakistan. He sounds thrilled, to be honest. And why won't he? Who doesn't like cheap oil? You see, Pakistan's economy is on the verge of collapse. Energy payments make up for most of its external payments. So cheaper crude is in Pakistan's interest. But guess who won't be too stoked about it? The United States. Imagine this, your longtime ally signing a deal with your enemy. But that's geopolitics for you. Historical ties hardly matter when your economy is crumbling. The question is, but how did Pakistan get here? Murmurs of a deal with Russia began last year. Finance Minister Ishaq Dar was the first to mention it. He said Pakistan was considering buying Russian oil. Ironically, he cited India's example. Dar said New Delhi was buying Russian oil for cheap, so Islamabad had the right to explore this avenue too. Soon, Pakistan's petroleum minister flew to Moscow. His name is Musaddiq Malik. On his return, he had an important announcement to make. He said Russia would provide Pakistan with discounted crude. The prospect made them happy, but it was short-lived. That same month, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari visited Washington, and there he shot down any plans of purchasing Russian oil. That was December 2022. 1 month later, things changed again. A Russian delegation arrived in Islamabad. They were there to finalize the oil deal. By April, Pakistan had already placed its first order. Fast forward to today, and the first cargo of Russian oil has reached Islamabad. So are Bhutto's statements just hogwash? Or did he not want to anger Washington while on its soil? Either way, the developments pose a problem for America. You see, Pakistan and Russia have a troubled history, and most of that is thanks to the US. In 1950, Moscow invited Pakistan's first prime minister for a visit. Islamabad declined. Instead, it accepted Washington's invite. That snub did not go down too well with Moscow. Then came the Cold War. Pakistan was Washington's crucial ally during that period. It even provided its air bases to the United States. Again in 1980, the US backed Afghan insurgencies against the Soviet invasion. Pakistan was at the forefront of that. Long story short, there's a lot of bad blood between Moscow and Islamabad. Then what explains the oil deal? Well, economics and politics. Russia wants to sell oil, Pakistan wants to buy cheap oil. As for the politics, Pakistan's ties with the US are deteriorating. The Biden administration was cold to Imran Khan. Then he visited Russia, right on the eve of the Ukraine war. Terrible timing, you would think, but for Imran Khan, this was the perfect opportunity. He was trying to forge ties with Moscow. Well, as things turned out, he was ousted from office. Since then, the generals in Pakistan have tried some damage control with the US. Meanwhile, the Russians are seeking out allies and buyers of oil. Anyone they can find, even Pakistan. They want economic ties, not defense cooperation yet. Russia says a weak Pakistan will not be good for the region, neither for India nor for Afghanistan. Also, this deal gives them a new market to sell their oil. For Pakistan, it's like getting the best of both worlds, cheap Russian oil on one hand and Western military support on the other. Because remember, despite all of this, Washington is still giving them military support, including the most recent upgrade of F-16s worth $450 million. So the question is, how is America allowing all of this? Pakistan remains their major non-NATO ally, amongst the biggest recipients of their military aid. Have the Americans lost sway over the generals like the Arab sheikhs? Or are there sanctimonious lectures only for countries like India?